My dear, I'm so happy you're here with me right now, because if you're listening to these words, there is a part of you that is so tired of fighting inside, so tired of pushing your own heart away. You may have believed for a long time that the only way to be strong is to shut your feelings down, to get over it, to pull yourself together, to be the calm one, the logical one, the one who does not feel too much. And yet, somewhere underneath all of that effort, your emotions are still there, knocking softly, or sometimes banging loudly on the door of your awareness. I want you to hear something very clearly. You do not have to defeat your emotions in order to be at peace. You only need to stop going to war with yourself. Your feelings are not here to destroy you. They are here to deliver messages. They are not enemies. They are messengers. When you fight them, you are fighting your own inner child, your own nervous system, your own truth. When you soften toward them, even just a little, you begin to experience a very different kind of strength. The strength of someone who can sit with themselves exactly as they are and say, I will not abandon you. So let us begin with something incredibly simple and incredibly powerful: naming what you feel. Many of us skip this step and go straight to judging, fixing, analyzing, or numbing. But if you don't know what is happening inside, how can you care for it? How can you soothe a child if you won't let them tell you why they're crying? I'd like you to imagine that for the next few minutes, we are gently turning toward your emotions instead of away from them. You don't need to dig up your whole past. You don't need to get it right. You only need to answer 3 little questions with as much honesty as you can offer today. First, what am I feeling right now? Not what you think you should feel. Not what you have decided is reasonable to feel. Just what is actually there. Sad, angry, numb, scared, lonely, overwhelmed. There are no wrong answers. If you don't know, you can even say, I feel confused. That is still a feeling. The second question is, how strong is this feeling from 0 to 10? Is it a tiny whisper at a 2? Or is it like a wave at an 8 or 9? When you give it a number, you stop making it a monster. It becomes something you can relate to. Okay, I'm at a 7 right now. No wonder I feel shaky. This simple rating helps you validate your own experience. It reminds you that you are not too much. You are responding to something that matters. And the third question is one most of us were never taught to ask. Where do I feel this in my body? Does your emotion sit as a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, a lump in your throat, a tension in your jaw? Perhaps your shoulders creep up toward your ears, or your hands clench, or your breathing becomes shallow. When you locate the feeling, you bring it out of the fog and into the present moment. You are no longer just upset. You are a human being with a warm body that is trying to tell you something is happening in here. And that, my love, is the beginning of taking the steering wheel back. When you name a feeling, what it is, how strong it is, where it lives, you stop being lost inside it and start relating to it. Now I want to talk about what happens when, instead of turning toward our feelings with curiosity, we turn against them with aggression. Many of us were trained to fight our inner world. Perhaps you recognize this voice inside. Stop being so weak. You shouldn't feel this way. Other people have it worse. Just be positive. Pull yourself together. This is the inner commander, the inner critic, the voice that believes bullying you will somehow make you safe. It tells you that if you could just shut down your sadness, erase your anger, ignore your fear, you would finally be okay. So you try. You scold yourself. You say, I'm being dramatic. I'm overreacting. I have no right to feel this. You force yourself to smile. You paste positive phrases over a shaking heart. You analyze everything from every angle, trying to think your way out of feeling. You run from task to task. You stay busy. You eat when you're not hungry. You drink when you're not thirsty. You scroll until your eyes hurt. Anything to avoid sitting alone with that feeling. Notice what your body does in those moments of inner war. The breath becomes shallow. The chest tightens like armor. The jaw clenches as if bracing for a blow. The stomach knots, the shoulders rise, the hands turn into fists. Your nervous system goes into battle mode, not because of the emotion itself, but because of the way you are relating to it. The sadness was a wave. The fear was a trembling. The anger was a bright spark. None of these are wrong, but when you shout at them, "Go away! You are not allowed!" they turn into storms inside your muscles, your heart, your thoughts. Fighting feelings does not make them disappear. It only pushes them deeper into the body, where they simmer and harden and wait. Like a child who is constantly told, "Be quiet, stop crying, go to your room." Your emotions don't stop existing. They learn that it isn't safe to come to you. They hide until they burst out in ways that feel confusing and overwhelming. Panic attacks, sudden outbursts, shutdowns, exhaustion. I want you to really let this in. You are not broken because you have big emotions. You are not weak because you cry or shake or feel numb sometimes. What hurts you is not the feeling itself. What hurts you is the war you wage against it. Imagine for a moment that instead of saying, "Don't be sad," you said to yourself, "I notice sadness inside me right now. It's about an 8. I feel it like a heavy weight in my chest." Immediately the energy shifts. You are witnessing instead of attacking. Instead of, "I'm so anxious, what's wrong with me?" you might say, "There is anxiety here. It's strong. My stomach is in knots. No wonder I feel like running." "Oh, sweetheart, of course you're scared." Do you feel the difference? One way of speaking turns you into the enemy. The other way makes you your own ally. You were never meant to fight your own heart into silence. You were meant to listen, to comfort, to understand. Your feelings are not against you. They are for you. Anger tries to say, "Something feels unfair. I need a boundary." Sadness tries to say, "I've lost something important. I need to grieve." Fear tries to say, "I sense danger. I need safety and reassurance." Even numbness tries to say, "It's too much right now. I need a pause." When you fight them, you miss the message and keep the pain. When you name them, feel them, and sit with them, you begin to heal the very wounds that created them. My dear, you don't have to become an expert in psychology to begin. You only need to practice this gentle pattern. What am I feeling? How strong is it? Where is it in my body? And when you notice that old habit of yelling at yourself, of forcing calm, of drowning your feelings in busyness, you can pause and say, "No, we are not going to war with ourselves today. We are going to listen." You may be surprised to discover that your feelings, when held with love, do not last forever. They crest and fall like waves. They soften, they move, they teach you. You are not your emotions. You are the loving presence that can sit with them. In the infinity of life where you are, all is unfolding, all is changing, all is growing, including your capacity to hold yourself with tenderness. You are learning to put down the weapons you've used against your own heart. You are learning to recognize, name, and feel your emotions without letting them drown you. And every time you do, you are teaching your mind and body a new truth. I do not need to fight myself to be safe. I can be on my own side. Life loves you. Your feelings are not proof that you are failing. They are proof that you are alive. And as you learn to stop fighting them and start listening, you will find that peace is not the absence of emotion, but the presence of love. Love for yourself exactly as you are in this very moment. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like if, just once, instead of judging yourself for how you feel, you simply held yourself the way a loving parent would hold a crying child? I want you to imagine just for a moment that your emotion is not an enemy, not a problem to fix, not a weakness to hide, but a little one, a small child, standing in front of you with tears in their eyes. Maybe they're scared, maybe they're angry, maybe they're just overwhelmed and don't have the words. Now, if that little child were real, standing there right now, would you shout at them, "Stop it! You're so dramatic! Get over it!" Would you tell them they're stupid for feeling what they feel? Would you say, "Don't be silly, other children have it worse"? Of course you wouldn't. You would bend down, open your arms, and say, "Come here, I've got you. Tell me what's wrong." You would not demand that they stop crying before you reach out. You would reach out first, and the crying would soften because someone finally stayed. Your emotions are that child. They don't need you to be perfect or wise or endlessly patient. They simply need you to be present. For so many years, many of us have been doing the opposite. When sadness shows up, we scold. When fear appears, we shame. When anger rises, we clamp down and say, "What is wrong with me?" But I want you to hear this. Nothing is wrong with you for having feelings. Feelings are not moral failures. They are energetic weather passing through your inner sky. A thunderstorm is not wrong. It's a pattern of nature. Your emotions are patterns of your inner nature. What hurts is not the rain. It's standing in the rain and screaming at the clouds. So what if, starting today, when a big feeling comes, you decide to parent yourself instead of punish yourself? What if you made a quiet promise? I will not abandon myself when I am emotional. I will stay. That's what the loving embrace really is. It is you choosing to be the gentle parent your heart has always needed. Let's walk through a simple, beautiful practice you can use in 2 or 3 minutes whenever you feel that inner storm coming. You don't have to wait for a perfect time. You don't need candles or crystals or a special room. You only need you. First, pause. You might already be in the middle of the day, working, scrolling, cooking, sitting on a train. For just one moment, let your shoulders drop a little. If it feels safe, close your eyes. Then place one hand over your heart, or wrap your arms around yourself as if you were giving yourself a hug. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Let your body know, someone is here, someone is with me, that someone is you. Next, bring your attention to your breath, not to force it, not to control it harshly, but to guide it with kindness. Inhale gently to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in your chest for the count of 2. 1, 2. Then exhale slowly, like a long sigh of relief, to the count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This longer exhale tells your nervous system, we are not under attack anymore. We can soften. Repeat this a few times. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6. Imagine each out breath as a little bit of fight leaving your body. a little bit of tension melting from your jaw, your shoulders, your belly. You are not trying to get rid of the feeling. You are making a safe room for it. When you feel even the tiniest bit more grounded, speak softly to yourself. You might say, I am here. I'm not leaving you. I will not abandon myself. You can call yourself by your own name if you like. I am here. Your name. I've got you. Notice how different that feels from the usual, what is wrong with me? These gentle words are not silly. They are medicine. They are teaching your brain and your inner child that it is safe to come to you. Even if the feeling is intense, you are telling it, you don't have to hide in the dark anymore. I am willing to sit with you in the light. And then comes a very powerful step, permission. You might say to yourself, this feeling is allowed to be here for a while. Just that. You are not promising it the rest of your life. You are not agreeing to drown in it. You are simply opening the door and saying, okay, you can come in. You can sit with me. This may feel strange at first, especially if you've spent years trying to block, numb, or outrun your emotions. But think of that child again. If you keep telling them, go away, you're too much, they will scream louder or collapse in pain. If you say, come sit with me, you're allowed to feel this way, they can finally exhale. The moment you stop resisting, some of the intensity begins to loosen. What we resist persists. What we allow can finally move. Now, from this softer place, you can gently ask your feeling a question. You can place your attention on the area where you feel it. Maybe your chest, your stomach, your throat. And whisper inside, what do you want to tell me? Don't worry if no words come. Don't force an answer. This is not an exam. It is an invitation. Maybe the emotion will speak in words. I'm scared you'll leave me like others did. I'm angry that I keep saying yes when I mean no. I'm sad because I miss the person I used to be. Maybe it will speak in images or memories, or simply stay as a sensation. That is all right. The healing is in the asking, not in forcing the reply. Your question, what do you want to say, is you opening a line of communication with parts of you that have long felt ignored. You can end this little practice by placing your hand on your heart once more and saying, thank you for showing up. I may not understand you yet, but I am willing to listen. Even if you don't feel calm, you have already done something extraordinary. Instead of turning away from yourself, you turned towards yourself. Instead of attacking your feeling, you embraced it. That is the loving embrace. That is you learning to be your own safe place. You are the only thinker in your mind, and you can choose to be a loving thinker. It may feel awkward at first. It may feel fake. That's all right. New habits often do. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. I must fight this can slowly become, I can hold this with love. There is one sentence, one pattern, that I want you to carry with you as a kind of anchor for this whole practice. It is a sentence of unconditional acceptance, the kind many of us never heard when we were young. It goes like this. Even though I am feeling gas right now, I still love and accept myself completely. You can fill in the blank with whatever is true. Angry, terrified, numb, jealous, ashamed, lost. Even though I am feeling jealous right now, I still love and accept myself completely. Even though I am feeling so anxious right now, I still love and accept myself completely. Even though I'm feeling nothing at all and I'm scared of that, I still love and accept myself completely. Do you feel the power of that? You are no longer saying, I will love myself when I stop feeling this. You are saying, I bring love to myself while I am feeling this. That is how shame begins to dissolve. That is how the inner war begins to end. You don't have to believe this sentence 100% today. Most people don't at first. That is all right, truly. You can soften it if you need to. Even though I am feeling chakraj right now, I am willing to love and accept myself. Or, I am learning to love and accept myself. The point is not to force a belief. The point is to aim your heart in a new direction. Every time you say this, you are laying another tiny brick in the foundation of self-worth. You are teaching your subconscious, my value is not canceled by my feelings. My worth is not erased by my pain. I am lovable in the storm, not just in the sunshine. Imagine what might change in your life if, instead of attacking your emotions, you met them with this sentence again and again. Maybe you would no longer need to explode at others just to release what's inside. Maybe you would no longer need to numb yourself with overwork, food, or scrolling just to avoid the ache. Maybe your relationships would soften because you're no longer demanding that others fix what you refuse to feel. When you give yourself a loving embrace, you become less afraid of your own inner world. And when you're less afraid of your inner world, the outer world feels less threatening. My dear, you were not put on this planet to be at war with yourself. You were not born to spend your life saying, I will love you when you're calmer, when you're thinner, when you're happier, when you're stronger. You were born to learn how to say, I love you now. I love you in the mess. I love you in the confusion. I love you in the tears. That is real healing. That is real spiritual work. Not escaping your feelings, but embracing them in the light of love. So the next time a big wave of emotion rises in you, remember this little roadmap. Pause, touch your heart, breathe 4, 2, 6. Speak gently to yourself. Give the feeling permission to be there and ask, what do you want to tell me? Then wrap it all in the sentence, even though I feel this way, I still love and accept myself completely. You don't have to do it perfectly. You only have to be willing, step by step, breath by breath, embrace by embrace. You will discover that your emotions were never here to break you. They were here to bring you back to yourself. Life loves you. You are learning to love you too. And as you hold yourself with this new tenderness, you will find that peace is not the absence of feeling, but the presence of unconditional love, starting with your own. Let yourself answer this honestly. Who are you when a big feeling comes? Do you become the anger, the sadness, the fear itself? Do you disappear inside it and forget that there is more to you than this one stormy moment? Or can you sense, even a little, that there is a part of you watching the feeling, holding the feeling, noticing the feeling? That watcher, that holder, that witness, that is the real you. Your emotions rise and fall, they come and go, they shout and they whisper, but you are the one who is still here before, during, and after every wave. I want you to imagine your emotional life as the ocean. Sometimes it is calm and glassy. Sometimes it is choppy. Sometimes the waves are wild and high. But look deeper. Beneath the surface, the ocean is vast, deep, and steady. A wave does not define the entire sea. It is just a movement on top of something much greater. Your feelings are the waves. You are the ocean. When you forget this, every wave feels like the end of the world. When you remember this, even a big wave becomes something you can allow, observe, and gently ride out. For so long, many of us have mistaken our momentary feelings for our permanent identity. We say, I am anxious, I am depressed, I am a mess, I am too much. But what if you shifted this just a little to, I am experiencing anxiety, I am feeling depression, I am having a messy moment, I am moving through big feelings. Do you feel how that opens some space? With just a tiny change in language, you step back from being the wave and return to being the ocean that contains it. You are not your anger. You are the one who feels anger and can learn from it. You are not your fear. You are the one who can hold fear and still choose your next step. You are not your sadness. You are the one who can cradle sadness until it softens. This distinction is not a trick. It is a doorway to freedom. When you know you are bigger than any one feeling, you no longer have to panic every time a feeling arrives. You can say, yes, I see you, I feel you. You can be here for a while, and I will still be here when you pass. Now let's weave in a pattern that can change everything about the way you live with your emotions. From fighting, to feeling, to freeing. Many of us are stuck in the first stage. The moment a difficult emotion appears, the inner voice rises. No, not this. I can't feel this. I shouldn't feel this. This is wrong. This is too much. That is fighting. I must not be this way. It sounds like strength, but it is really fear. When you fight yourself like this, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your mind spins, and the emotion you wanted to avoid becomes 10 times louder. Fighting does not mean you are strong. It means you are scared. And you know what, my love? It's okay to be scared. But instead of screaming at the fear, we are learning to sit beside it. That brings us to the second stage. Feeling. Feeling sounds like this. I notice that I am this way right now. Not forever, not always, not as a verdict on your worth, just now. I notice I feel angry. I notice I feel jealous. I notice I feel ashamed. I notice I feel empty. Feeling is honest. It doesn't decorate. It doesn't exaggerate. It doesn't pretend. It simply says, this is what is here. When you are willing to move from fighting to feeling, something very powerful happens. The tension between you and your emotion begins to soften. You are no longer pulling it one way while it pulls another. You are no longer insisting, this must not exist, while your heart insists, but it does. In that moment of honest feeling, you stop tearing yourself in two. You become one again, one person with one nervous system, acknowledging one truthful experience. And from there, the third stage begins to open. Freeing. Freeing is not something you do directly, like pressing a button that says, remove sadness now. Freeing is what naturally begins to happen when an emotion is fully acknowledged, felt, and held with love. Imagine a wave rising and falling. If you try to punch it, it splashes in your face. If you try to freeze it, you get stuck in a block of ice. But if you float on it, let it lift you and lower you, eventually it carries you back toward the shore. Feeling is floating. Freeing is arriving. I want you to try on a new inner script that follows this path. When a strong emotion arises, instead of no, not this, you might say, ah, this is here. Instead of I can't be like this, you might say, I am like this right now. Instead of this will never end, you might say, this is moving through me. Let's turn it into 3 phrases you can remember. Fighting, I must not feel this. Feeling, I do feel this. Freeing, this feeling is moving through me. The moment you shift from stage 1 to stage 2, you are already stepping towards stage 3. You might not feel it yet. You might still be crying, shaking, or numb, but something has changed at the deepest level. You are no longer your own enemy. And when you stop attacking yourself, your system can begin to relax, to process, to digest what it's been holding. Emotions that are felt and held can finally move on. Emotions that are rejected and suppressed become stuck. This is why I often say, emotions need to be felt to be freed. If you never let yourself feel your grief over that loss, it stays lodged in your chest, showing up as tightness or irritability or fatigue. If you never let yourself feel your anger about that boundary violation, it leaks out sideways as resentment or self-attack. If you never let yourself feel your fear about that change, it turns into procrastination and self-sabotage. Feeling is not indulgence. Feeling is maintenance. It is emotional hygiene. Just as your body needs to sweat, cry, rest, and release, your heart needs to express what has happened to it. When you sit down with yourself and say, "Okay, sweetheart, we'll feel a little bit of this now," you are not being weak. You are being a wise caretaker of your own soul. You are saying, "We will not carry this forever. We will let it move." I want you to picture yourself as a vast, calm ocean once more. A big wave of sadness appears. Fighting says, "This wave shouldn't be here. This means I am a bad ocean." Feeling says, "There is a big wave of sadness in me right now." Freeing says, "I can feel this wave and I know it will eventually roll back into the sea." The wave still rises and falls, but the ocean doesn't forget that it is still the ocean. You are bigger than any one feeling, because you are the awareness that holds all feelings. You are the sky in which every weather pattern appears. You are not the storm. You are the space the storm passes through. Even in your most intense moments, when you are sobbing on the floor, when your heart is pounding, when your mind feels lost, there is a part of you that can say, "This is very strong right now," and that part is already free. That part is already resting in love. So let's tie it all together in a way you can carry into your daily life. When an emotion comes, notice who you are. I am the one feeling this, not the feeling itself. Stop fighting and start feeling. I am like this right now. That is the truth. Trust the process of freeing. Because I am allowing this, it can move through me. You do not have to like your feelings to allow them. You do not have to agree with them to listen. You do not have to be swallowed by them to respect them. You are discovering a middle place, a loving place, where you can say, "This emotion is a wave in me, and I am the sea that holds it. I will feel it, and I will not forget that I am more." From fighting to feeling, from feeling to freeing, that is the journey from inner war to inner peace. And you, my love, are absolutely capable of walking it. One breath, one wave, one gentle moment of self-acceptance at a time. Remember, it is only a thought, and a thought can be changed. I am drowning in this can become, a strong wave is moving through me. I will never get out of this feeling can become, feelings come and go. I remain. I have to fight this part of me can become, I am learning to hold this part of me with love. You don't need to get it perfect. You only need to be willing. As you practice this, you will begin to notice something almost miraculous. The more you allow yourself to feel, the more free you become. You are not meant to be a battlefield. You are meant to be a home, especially for yourself. Life loves you. Your feelings are not here to destroy you. They are here to be held, heard, and then gently released. And you, vast ocean that you are, have always been big enough to hold them. Now let's talk about what really happens inside you when you go to war with your own heart. When I say fighting yourself, I don't mean healthy discipline or wise choices. I mean those moments when a part of you is hurting and another part jumps in to attack that hurt. One side is crying, "I'm scared, I'm sad, I'm overwhelmed," and the other side is shouting, "Stop it, you're ridiculous, you shouldn't feel that, get over it." Can you feel how that splits you in two? Instead of being one whole person who is allowed to have a feeling, you become a battlefield, the hurting part and the judging part. Very often, the pain you feel is not just from the original wound, it's from that second blow, the one you keep giving yourself. Think of it like this. Something happens that hurts, a loss, a disappointment, a memory, a fear. That's the first layer of pain. Then instead of turning toward that pain with kindness, you turn on yourself. You say, "I shouldn't be upset. I'm weak. I'm too much. I'm a mess. What's wrong with me?" That's the second layer. So now you're not only hurting, you're being attacked for hurting. It's as if a child fell down and scraped their knee, and instead of comforting them, you stood over them and shouted, "Get up, you stupid child." The scraped knee is painful, yes, but the shame of not being comforted is what really cuts deep. This is what happens inside when you fight your own feelings. One part of you is terrified or grieving, and another part is standing over it with a whip. This inner war creates a cruel little loop. First there is pain, the raw feeling. Then comes resistance. I must not feel this. Resistance brings tension. The breath gets tight, the body clenches, the mind races. That tension amplifies the original pain. Everything feels more unbearable, so you resist even harder. And round you go. Pain, fight, tension, more pain, more fight. No wonder you're exhausted. No wonder you feel like you're too emotional or never getting better. It's not because you're broken. It's because you've been stuck in a pattern that no one ever taught you how to step out of. You've been trying to fix a feeling with more pressure, when what it needed was more softness. I want you to hear this very clearly. You do not need more control over your emotions. You need more safety with your emotions. When a feeling rises and your first impulse is to clamp down and criticize, your nervous system hears a very loud message. It is not safe to feel. It is not safe to be me. It is not safe to show anything vulnerable. And when your system feels unsafe, it doesn't calm down. It goes into alarm. Your heart beats faster, your breath shortens, your muscles brace for attack. You go into survival mode, and in survival mode, the feeling can't move. It gets frozen in place. It's like trying to heal a wound while you're constantly flinching. Healing needs softness, stillness, permission. When you bring a sense of safety, it is okay that I feel this. I am not going to punish myself for it. Your body can begin to relax. And when the body relaxes, the feeling has space to move through. So what happens when you don't allow your emotions to move? When your default is always to fight, to push down, to distract, to deny? Feelings that are blocked don't disappear. They go underground. They sink into the muscles, the gut, the jaw, the nervous system. Over time, this becomes what we call chronic stress. The body stays on high alert, even when there is no immediate threat. You wake up tired. Your shoulders live up by your ears. Your stomach is often tight or upset. Sleep doesn't refresh you the way it used to. It's like your whole system forgot how to stand down. And because you're always keyed up, the smallest trigger feels huge. A little comment suddenly feels like an attack. A minor delay feels like a catastrophe. It isn't because you're weak, it's because your body has been carrying emotions it was never allowed to release. For many people, this long-term suppression also turns into anxiety, a constant hum of worry and dread. When feelings are not welcomed, they begin to pile up like unopened letters. You don't know what's in them, but you're afraid to open them, so they sit in the corner, and you feel the weight of all that unprocessed life. Your mind starts racing to try to predict and prevent anything that might stir those feelings up. You find yourself overthinking conversations, rehearsing possible disasters, scanning for danger. Again, there is nothing wrong with you. Your system is simply trying to outrun its own backlog of emotion. The tragedy is that this attempt to outrun is the very thing that keeps the anxiety going. What we push away doesn't dissolve, it follows us. Sometimes, instead of constant anxiety, the cost shows up as emotional numbness. You feel flat. You say, I don't cry anymore. I can't feel joy either. Everything is just meh. For a long time, you may even believe this is strength, that not feeling is safer than feeling too much. But numbness is not peace. It's a shutdown. It's a system that has said, feeling hurts too much and I am tired of being attacked when I feel, so I will stop feeling anything at all. It's like turning off the entire power grid because one light bulb was flickering. Yes, you avoid the uncomfortable feelings, but you also dim your capacity for love, excitement, connection, and aliveness. You become a ghost in your own life. That's not what you came here for. And then, there are those moments when everything you've pushed down explodes. You say, I don't know why I snapped like that. I don't know why I had a panic attack over something so small. I don't know why I just shut down and couldn't speak. Your system can only hold so much unprocessed feeling before it finds a way out, and it usually chooses the least convenient time. That is not because you are unstable. It is because you have not been given a safe, consistent way to let feelings flow a little at a time. Imagine holding a beach ball underwater. It takes effort, constant pressure. Eventually, your hands slip and the ball flies up with force. Your emotions are that ball. The deeper you push them, the more forcefully they rebound. This is why I keep saying to you, over and over, with all the love in my heart, you do not need another layer of self-control. You need another layer of self-kindness. Control says, stop feeling, stop being this way, stop making a mess. Safety says, you are allowed to be as you are for a moment. I am here with you. We can handle this together. Control tightens, safety softens. Control demands perfection. Safety makes room for humanity. When you offer yourself safety, you are telling your body and your heart, you don't have to scream to get my attention anymore. I am listening. And do you know what happens when someone believes they are truly being listened to? They calm down. The same is true for your emotions. There is a sentence I want you to remember because it holds the essence of this transformation. What you fight will cling to you. What you lovingly allow will begin to change. Or in another form, what you resist will persist. What you embrace will transform. You have already seen this in your life. Think of the times you tried to muscle your way out of a feeling. You criticized yourself, you distracted, you pretended, and noticed how it kept circling back. Now think of the rare times you actually let yourself sit, cry, shake, breathe, and be honest about how you felt. Maybe you talked to someone safe. Maybe you journaled. Maybe you simply lay in bed and said, I'm so sad. and let the tears come. Did that feeling stay at the same intensity forever? No. It may not have vanished in 5 minutes, but it shifted. It moved. A part of you felt lighter afterward. That's because your emotion had finally been allowed to complete its cycle. My love, you are not bad for having big feelings. You are not failing because your heart reacts deeply to life. You are not weak for needing to process. What has been hurting you is not that you feel. It's that you've been taught to fight yourself every time you do. You don't need to win a war inside. You need to end the war. And you do that not by forcing yourself to be calm, but by offering yourself the one thing your system has been craving: safety. Safety to name what you feel. Safety to let it live in your body for a little while without judgment. Safety to release it in tears, in words, in movement, in the infinity of life where you are. All is unfolding, and you are learning a new way to be with yourself. The old way, pain, then self-attack, then more pain, has cost you so much. Your ease, your energy, your joy. The new way, pain, then kindness, then gradual release, will give you something back, your wholeness. Remember, you don't need to tighten more. You need to trust more. You don't need more control. You need more love. And that love begins with the simple, radical choice to stop fighting your own heart and to start holding it instead. Life loves you. Your feelings are not your enemy. And as you learn to make them feel safe within you, you will find that you feel safer in your own life than you ever have before. As we move toward the end of our time together, I want you to imagine that this last part is not a lecture at all, but a soft blanket you can wrap around yourself whenever your heart feels raw. You don't have to try hard now. You don't have to remember every word. Just let the meaning soak into you, like warm sunlight on your skin. You've spent so much of your life trying to fix yourself, trying to control yourself, trying to win a war inside your own chest. Right now, you are learning another way: to hold yourself instead of hurt yourself, to meet your feelings instead of mute them, to stay with yourself instead of abandoning your heart the moment it trembles. I'd like to give you a set of affirmations, not as magic spells, not as ways to force yourself to be positive, but as gentle, loving sentences that can become the new voice in your mind. You may have carried harsh phrases for many years. Stop crying. Don't be weak. You're too sensitive. These words carved pathways in your nervous system. Now we are planting new sentences in that same soil. Sentences that say, you are allowed, you are safe, you are lovable even when you feel. When I speak these affirmations, imagine you are hearing them as a kind, steady presence within you. If it feels right, you can repeat them softly in your mind or whisper them out loud. If you don't quite believe them yet, that is all right. You don't have to believe 100% to begin. You only need to be willing. Take a slow breath with me. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw release. Feel your hands, your feet, the weight of your body being held by the chair, the bed, the ground. And now, very gently, we'll begin. I am safe when I feel. Let those words move through you. For so long, your body has believed the opposite. I am in danger when I feel. I will be judged. I will be abandoned. I will be too much. Today we offer it a different message. It is safe enough for you to feel. You are not in the past anymore. You are here with me in this moment. You are safe enough to have a feeling. You might even place a hand on your heart and another on your belly while you say it. as if you were pressing this truth into your own cells. I am safe when I feel. You are not weak for needing this reminder. You are rewiring a lifetime of fear. The next affirmation is like adding softness to a body that has been clenching for years. I am gentle with myself. Notice what happens inside you when you say that. Your old instinct might be to rush, to demand, to say, yes, but I should already be over this. Let that voice be there if it wants to, and then just layer this new one on top. I am gentle with myself. You are allowed to talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you truly love. Someone who is trying, someone who is hurting, someone who doesn't need another critic, but a calm hand and a kind voice. You can be that voice now. Great change begins with small phrases like this, repeated in quiet moments. The next sentence speaks directly to the pattern we've been working with, the habit of going into battle with your own feelings. I do not fight my emotions. You might notice some resistance here. A part of you might say, but if I don't fight them, they will take over. They will drown me. That part has been protecting you for a very long time, using the only tools it knew: suppression, control, denial. You don't have to push it away. You can say to that part, thank you for trying to keep me safe. I am learning a new way now. And then you return once more to the words, I do not fight my emotions. You are not promising that you will never tense up again. You are simply setting the intention. My default is no longer war. My intention is peace. Remember, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. I must fight this can become, I can feel this. I can be with this. Now let's turn from what you refuse to do, fight, to what you are choosing to do. Love. I hold myself with love. Say that slowly. I hold myself with love. Perhaps you imagine wrapping your arms around your own body. Perhaps you picture your heart as something small and tender that you cup in both hands. Perhaps you see yourself as a child, and you, as the adult now, kneel down and say, come here, I will hold you. This affirmation is not about anyone else. It is about you stepping into the role of your own safest person. You don't need everyone out there to understand you if you are willing to understand yourself. You don't need everyone out there to comfort you if you are willing to comfort yourself. When you hold yourself with love, you are never truly alone. The next affirmation goes to a very sensitive place: fear. Many of us believe that we can only love ourselves when we are calm, confident, and in control. But that leaves us abandoned at the exact moments we need love the most, when we are afraid. So we will speak a different truth. Even when I am afraid, I still love and accept myself. Feel that. Let it echo inside you. Even when my heart is racing, I can still be on my own side. Even when my hands shake, I can still speak kindly to myself. Even when my mind is spiraling, I can still say, I am here with you. I am not going anywhere. You break the old condition that said, I am only lovable when I am composed and strong. Now your love says, I am lovable when I am shaking, when I am doubting, when I am messy and real. This is unconditional acceptance. You don't have to arrive at perfect peace to be worthy. You don't have to hide your fear to deserve tenderness. You can be terrified and still be worthy of your own embrace. The last affirmation in this little circle is about movement, about trusting that your emotions are here to pass through, not to imprison you. I allow my emotions to flow through me and leave. As you say this, Picture your feelings as waves that rise, crest, and fall, or as wind moving through an open house, or as a river that flows past, carrying leaves downstream. For so long you may have believed that every emotion that comes will stay forever. But look back over your life. Every feeling you have ever had has already changed. Some stuck because they never received attention. Some lingered because they were never allowed to be expressed. But even those are not permanent. When you say, "I allow my emotions to flow through me and leave," you become a wide channel instead of a blocked dam. You are telling your system, "I will feel you and I will not trap you. You can come, you can teach me, you can go." If you like, you can string these all together and feel how they create a new inner atmosphere. I am safe when I feel. I am gentle with myself. I do not fight my emotions. I hold myself with love. Even when I am afraid, I still love and accept myself. I allow my emotions to flow through me and leave. You could listen to these every night before sleep. You could write them on little notes and tuck them into places you see: your mirror, your phone background, the corner of your journal. You could choose just one that feels especially soothing right now and repeat it whenever you notice you're tightening up inside. This is how you retrain your inner world, not with one dramatic breakthrough, but with small, loving phrases repeated over and over until your heart starts to believe them. And now, before we close, I want to speak to you very plainly, like one soul speaking to another. You do not need to heal yourself with violence. You do not need to scream at yourself to change. You do not need to shame yourself into growing. You do not need to be your own drill sergeant, your own bully, your own prison guard. That was the old approach, the old consciousness, the old agreement. If I am hard enough on myself, maybe I will finally be good enough to rest. It never worked. It only added wounds on top of wounds. There is a different way. You heal with gentleness. You grow with patience. You transform with kindness. You walk yourself out of old pain not by whipping your back, but by holding your heart. You sit with your fear. You cradle your sadness. You breathe through your anger. You tell yourself the things you always wished someone would say to you. You are allowed to feel this. You are not too much. You are not broken. I am here. You will be amazed over time at how powerful tenderness really is. Softness is not weakness. Softness is what lets the frozen parts of you thaw so life can move again. So as you step back into your day, your week, your life, remember this truth in the simplest words possible. You are safe. You are loved, and you can always come back to hold yourself. No matter what is happening on the outside, conflict, disappointment, loss, change, you have the ability to place your hand on your heart, take a breath and say, "I am here for you." You may forget. That's all right. Just remember again. You may slip back into fighting. That's all right. Just notice, soften, and return. Healing is not a straight line. It is many little homecomings, over and over. Life loves you. Your feelings, even the messy ones, are not a sign that you are failing. They are invitations to come closer to yourself. And you, dear one, are learning how to answer that invitation with love. Whenever you need it, remember these words. I am safe when I feel. I am gentle with myself. I do not fight my emotions. I hold myself with love. Even when I am afraid, I still love and accept myself. I allow my emotions to flow through me and leave. May you be wrapped in kindness. May you feel supported from the inside out. May you always know that no matter what you feel, you can come home to your own loving arms.